Welcome back to Root Double. Now we were just finishing up a bit of karaoke here in Chapter 5, which was really, actually, quite cute and felt right, because they gave us a reason why we'd go to karaoke when we were being hunted by the security forces in the city. And so we did, and we had a bit of fun and blew off little steam. Now hopefully we get some sleep. We're having a heart-to-heart with Salyu. And that is another point. When she had told him a few days ago, he didn't quite understand what she had meant. But today, what she said felt all too real. Protect me, huh? From who? Feels like there's terrorists out there, and also the cops are far too willing to jump down our throats. Apparently, Salyu's training back in France gave her the physical ability and the martial arts skills necessary to lead that security guard by the nose today. Natsuhiko didn't know exactly how much faith his mother had in Salyu, but it's too shameful to have to rely on someone else for protection all the time.
Na, Salyu. 今日警備員を投げ飛ばしただろ。あれ、僕にもできないかな。
夏彦が？
いや、なんだか状況も緊迫してきたしさ。僕も自分の身を守れるようになりたいんだよ。
武術は少しかじったくらいでは役には立たないけど。
そうか。
Oops, sorry.
ぜひ教えてくれ。
I always get thrown by just poignant pauses and voiced lines like that. Hate it. It always trips me up once or twice a video, and I'm so sorry.
了解。では夏彦、私の襟首を掴んで。
Oh no, you're gonna throw me. Hopefully we don't get ourselves thrown out by practicing martial arts after karaoke.
ああ、こうか。
Natsuhiko gently reached out for the nape of Salyu's neck. In the very next moment, Salyu grabbed his hand.
例えば襟首を掴まれたら、まず相手の手首を掴み返す。そしてその腕をひねるように相手の後ろに回り、思い切り引き下げる。
Whoa! A throw. With an energetic shout from Salyu, Natsuhiko's world turned upside down. Natsuhiko groaned as a shock ran through his back. It was an odd sensation. Salyu didn't seem to exert that much strength, and yet she quickly threw him off his feet. Oh, so I can visualize the motion. Back of the wrist, turn around. So essentially you have your assailant's arm over your shoulder now. And then you pull down on that really hard. And with a bit of force, I could see how that would flip someone over.
大丈夫？
Salyu explained as Natsuhiko slowly got up.
これが四方投げ。人間の反射を利用した合気道の技。
Shihonage?
相手は関節を逆に取られているから、痛みから逃げようとしたら自然と投げられてしまう。
Ah.
なるほど。
相手に襟首を掴まれた時に限定すれば素人でも使える。だけど忘れないで、護身術において大事なのはまず何より逃げることだから。
Yeah, you don't want prolonged encounters.
逃げる？
そう。日本のことわざにもあるでしょ。生標本は怪我のもと。
生標本は怪我のもとか？なんだよ生標本って。なんか怖いよ。
日本語は難しい。
Oh,
サリュもそういう間違いすることあるんだな。なんか安心したよ。
うるさい夏彦。 とにかくあくまで守るのは私。夏彦が戦うのは最後の手段だと思って。
わかった。何かあったらまずはサリを頼ることにするよ。
Natsuhiko nodded positively to Salyu's suggestion. It was a pity to have to rely on someone else for protection all the time, but what Salyu had said was justified.
技のご教授ありがとう。なんかお礼ができればいいんだけど。
なら逆に教えてほしいことがある。さっきは私の過去を語った。今度は夏彦のことを聞きたい。
え？僕の何を？
何でもいい。例えば家族について。夏彦の母は天川博士だけど、父は今どこに？
ああ、聞いてないのか？父さんはだいぶ前にお星
に？
She didn't seem to understand the euphemism, so Natsuhiko spoke up front this time.
その死んじゃったってことさ。去年32歳。まだ若かったのに癌にかかっちゃってさ。僕が5歳の時だからもう10年以上も前だ。
ごめん。
ああ、いや気にしなくていいよ。もう昔のことだし今さら悲しくなったりはしないから。
Slight silence spread through the room. After making sure that Alice hadn't made any sounds, Salyu sighed in relief and spoke.
夏彦の父はどういう人だったの？
それがあんまり覚えてないんだよな。僕と同様コミュニケーターだったらしいけど。
父も？
コミュニケーター大発現前に生まれた人としては珍しい適正度 B 能力レベル4のコミュニケーターだったらしいよ。
Once Natsuhiko finished recounting the second-hand information from his mother, Salyu spoke in agreement.
では夏彦の適正度の高さは父からの遺伝なのね。確か博士は適正度 F のはずだから。
どうだろう。確かに母さんは適性がないけど。
どういう意味？夏彦は適正度 S なのだから父からの遺伝と考えるのが自然。
それなんだけどさ、サリュ。
Natsuhiko lowered his voice to a whisper.
実は僕の適正度って元から S だったわけじゃないんだ。学校に入る前に測った時は C だったんだよ。でも小学校に入ってからもう一度計測すると S に上昇してたんだ。
Salyu's eyes widened at that revelation.
ちょっと待って。どういうこと？適正度とは生まれつき決まっているもので生涯変わることはないはず。
そこなんだよ、不思議なのは。計測した医者も首をひねっていてさ、めったにない事例だって騒ぎになったんだけど、結局最終的には小学校に入る前に測った時の C って結果はただの計測ミスで正しくは S だったってことになった。
Well, that certainly turned your life upside down. That was a truth that next to nobody knew. Oh wow. According to the Rokume Academy student database, Natsuhiko by nature had rank S aptitude. The data from his time with rank C aptitude had been erased.
そういうことってあるの？
まあそれから何年経っても S のままだからそっちが正しいんだろ。
Fair.
特筆するようなことはそのくらいかな。あとは割と平凡な生活を送っていたよ。
Just living a quiet life.
そう。
Natsuhiko suddenly realized how slow Sally's reaction had been.
ごめん、つまらないかな、こんな話。
違う。実はさっきからとてもものすごく非常に眠い。
そうだったのか？
Nap time.
夏彦の話をもっと聞きたくて頑張っていたんだけど。
いいよいいよ。 また今度いくらでも話してやるから。
ならば私はもう寝る。
And then, as if Salyu's soundboard had run out of batteries, her voice faded into the distance.
寝るんなら膝枕でもしてやろうか。
Yeah.
ありがとう。では失礼して。
Oh. Thunk. Salyu collapsed onto Natsuhiko's lap and shut her eyes.
あ、
Out like a light. Salyu dozed off before he could pull a just kidding.
軽い冗談のつもりだったんだけどな。
As he spoke, Natsuhiko remembered Salyu's condition. She was unable to understand other people's feelings, and perhaps she couldn't catch jokes either. Probably be a jerk move on my part to tease her, even as a joke. Short, I decided it would probably be best to always speak the earnest truth when talking to Salyu. Natsuhiko secretly hid those thoughts as he gazed upon her sleeping face. He considered heading off to sleep himself, but then Natsuhiko suddenly got worried about Yuuri. Uh-oh. I hope she's okay. Hi, Natsuhiko. Hopefully the security department people they escaped from didn't force their way into the Tenkawa residence and interrogate Yuuri. Natsuhiko got more and more worried. And Yuuri would probably get worried too if they didn't come back until the next day. Call her. Perhaps it was a mistake to leave their PDAs behind. Natsuhiko quietly left the room, trying his best not to make a sound. Left the building, Natsuhiko looked around the nighttime streets. Is there a payphone anywhere? There were hardly any of the sort nowadays, but luckily Natsuhiko managed to find a telephone box close to the store. This is interesting. Still in the same scene. Rushed inside, wary of the security department and surveillance cameras. Picked up the receiver and dialed his home phone number. The dial tone rang. Oh god, I hope this doesn't get tracked. However, Yuuri did not answer. No, don't tell me the security department took her away. Such an experience would certainly trigger a panic attack, and she'd cry so hard she'd lose sight of herself. The longer the dial tone rang, the faster Natsuhiko's anxiety spread. Speak up, Yuuri. Just as Natsuhiko made that silent prayer, the phone finally connected.
ああ、ユーリか？そっち大丈夫か？あの後、保安課の連中が来たりしてないか？
心配しないで。何もなかったよ。
Natsuhiko felt relieved to hear Yuri's relaxed voice.
ヒコリンたちこそあの後大丈夫だった？
なあ、こっちは問題ない。真白もサリも捕まったりはしてないよ。
今どこにいるの
？Probably shouldn't say. Natsuhiko was about to say the karaoke box in the shopping district, but he stopped himself. Smart guy. Smart boy. He was afraid that the phones could be wiretapped. Although alternatively, they could be just... If they were wiretapped, say, okay, the Tenkawa residents got a phone call. Trace it back to this phone box, check the surveillance to see if we can spy anyone. The security department probably wasn't being that thorough, but it was better to be safe than sorry.
街のどこかだよ。
I'm just saying that if they really wanted to, they could track you down from this alone. If Yuuri had sensed Natsuhiko's misgivings, she pried no further.
まあ心配することはないけどさ。ちょっと今日は帰れそうにないんだ。
Looks like I'm going to have to do your 6:19 a.m. watch smashing from remotely.
真白とサリと一緒に公園かどこかに野宿しようと思う。
That was a lie. A small diversion in the off chance that the phone actually was tapped.
公園？野宿ってこと？女の子2人も連れて大丈夫なの？
いや、真白はあれでなかなか肝の据わったやつだし、サリュもああ見えてワイルドな子なんだよ。なーに、心配しなくていいって。たまには外で夜を過ごすってのもいいもんだよ。
そうかもね。
Yuuri suddenly whispered it in a quiet voice.
懐かしいね、ひかり。ずっと前にもそんなことがあったね。
ん？
覚えてる？家出の時のこと。
Yuri's question jogged Natsuhiko's memory. Conclusion to their running away from home experience.
覚
Ah.
えてるよ。
Natsuhiko felt the visions of a day long past rise up once more from the bottom of his heart. Let's go somewhere, just the two of us. After he had said that in the park, Natsuhiko took Yuuri by the hand and first headed back to the Tenkawa household. His mother was late in getting back, as usual. Normally, it made him lonely, but that day it was actually more convenient for her to be absent. I'm sure Mom would get mad at me if she found out. If that happened, she'd probably send Yuuri home right off the bat. Natsuhiko couldn't ask any adults for help, not even his own mother. He had to be the one to protect Yuuri.
よし、準備をしよう、ユーリ。
準備ってどうすればいいのかな。
遠足用のリュックがあるから、この中に必要なものを入れていこう。まず食べ物がないと話にならないからな。
そうだね、お腹空いちゃうもんね。
Kids fished around the kitchen. They looked for foods that didn't need to be cooked, particularly on the snacks shelf.
ねえ、夏彦くん、これも持っていった方がいいかな。
なになに？って、それインスタントラーメンじゃんか。ダメダメ。台所がないところに行くかもしれないんだぞ。
その時は焚き火をして作ればいいんだよ。これも持ってく、決まり。
おいおい。
焚き火をするってことはライターがあった方がいいよね。
Yuuri gleefully picked out the things for them to bring. Mood had shifted so subtly. She was enjoying herself now.
まあいっか。
Deep down, Natsuhiko was excited too. It was a brand new adventure, a journey of justice to protect Yuuri, an illusion of a new future. Kids were exhilarated. A short while later, the backpack was stuffed to the brim. Natsuhiko put on his precious watch, and they were ready to disembark.
よし、行こう、ユーリ。
Natsuhiko took Yuuri by the arm and left the house.
どこに行く？
どこでもいいよ。あの家から遠いところならどこでも。
よし、じゃあ秘密基地に行こう。
秘密基地？
町外れにあるんだ。この間遊んでたら見つけてさ。
そこにしよう。私、夏彦くんについてくから。
オッケー、出発！
Here we go. With an enthusiastic cheer, kids walked in the opposite direction from Yuri's house. They walked alone on the long road to the secret base. It was the end of May, and yet the night air was surprisingly chilly. Each time the wind blew, their body heat gradually sapped away. That was only a trivial matter to them. They advanced down the path, feeling like they were the only people on Earth. Eventually, they reached a discolored building. It was a ruined factory that was no longer in use.
ここが秘密基地？
ああ、僕らがいろんなものを持ち込んで作ったのさ。早速中に入ろう。はぐれちゃいけないから手をつないで。
Natsuhiko moved briskly into the darkness. He had played there countless times, so he already had a complete understanding of what was where.
僕の記憶が確かならば。
Natsuhiko reached out in the darkness. A moment later, Oh! A soft light filled the room. Natsuhiko had lit an oil lamp with a lighter.
僕が家から持ち込んだランプさ。これがあれば夜でも大丈夫。
すごい。こんなとこがあったんだ。
Yuuri looked around with a twinkle in her eye. A variety of objects of all shapes and sizes adorned the ruined factory. From furniture like an old sofa or cupboard, to outdoor items like a charcoal stove or a parasol. Time killers like manga and toys, as well as items of questionable usefulness like a wrench, a millstone, and a pair of nunchaku.
な、すごいだろ。僕だけじゃなくて、みんながいろんなものを持ち込んできたのさ。拾ったり、家から持ってきたり。
本当に秘密基地だね。
Yuuri smiled out of honest enjoyment. Natsuhiko felt happy too and pointed to the sofa.
まあまあ座ろうよ。いっぱい歩いたからお腹空いたろ。
Kids sat down next to each other and took the snacks out of the backpack. They ate the sweet biscuits as they talked.
毛布とか寝袋もあるんだ。寝泊まりもバッチリできるぜ。
それじゃあここでずっと暮らせるね。
もちろん。それに真白たちも近頃はここを根城にしてるからな。きっといろいろ手助けしてくれる。困ることなんて何もないよ。楽しい毎日が送れるって。
楽しみだな。
Yuuri smiled as she gazed at the lamp. The light cast a shadow on her face.
私ね、この町に来るまで楽しい思い出なんかなかったの。
Oh.
そうなの？
だって私ってコミュニケーターでしょ。
そうだけど、それが？
学校に入る前に遺伝子検査したら適正度が C だって分かって。
A rank C aptitude?
それとお父さんたちがね、もともと怒りっぽかったけど私のことを邪魔者にするようになってね。それから楽しいことなんて何もなくなっちゃった。毎日悲しいことばかり。だからね、私一生懸命 BC 練習したの。心が読めればお父さんたちがどうして私を嫌うのかわかると思って。でもダメだったよ。頑張れば頑張るほどお父さんもお母さんも私を邪魔者にしたよ。
And then I learned the answer. Yuuri's voice was deathly quiet, which made it all the more heartrending.
ユーリ。
Even though he had never had such an experience, he could still understand her sadness. He frantically searched his meager vocabulary for the right words to say to her.
僕、絶対ユーリを邪魔者にしたりしないよ。僕、ユーリとずっと一緒にいるよ。心を読んだりする必要もないよ。だからもう心配しないで。
Natsuhiko's awkward encouragement made her smile with joy from the bottom of her heart.
ありがとう、夏彦くん。
ね、ユーリがコミュニケーターでも僕は全然気にしないよ。だって仲間だもん。
そうだね。それに私ね、コミュニケーターで良かったと思うことが一つあるよ。それはね、夏彦くんに会えたこと。コミュニケーターじゃなかったらこの町に引っ越してこられなかったもんね。
Yuuri looked at Natsuhiko as she spoke. Natsuhiko couldn't help but look away. He felt an unknown emotion welling up from the bottom of his heart. His face felt unbearably hot and he couldn't form any words.
どうしたの？
Oh.
なんでもないよ。 ビスケットが喉に詰まっただけ。
大丈
うん、もう平気。僕強いからさ。
夫？よかった。
Yuri sighed in relief. Sadness was no longer anywhere to be seen on her face. Natsuhiko sighed too as he pondered. Thank goodness. Looks like taking her away from home was the right choice. Natsuhiko looked at the lamp. Felt as if he could see a bright future waiting for them reflected in its flames. Looks like Yuri won't have to cry anymore now. Hopefully she can learn to forget all the sad things that have happened so far. The moment Natsuhiko felt that optimism, the lamp's light blew out.
あれ、どうしたのかな。
燃料がなくなっちゃったんだな。明日補給しよう。
Yuri's voice was listless. Perhaps she had made sure there was enough fuel. Natsuhiko mulled over the mistake. Yuri murmured beside him.
夏彦くん、いる？
いるよ。どうしたの？
なんか怖くなっちゃって。もっとそばに寄っていい？
ああ。
Natsuhiko huddled up with Yuri as told. He could feel the warmth of her arm against his. The air gradually cooled and caressed their skin.
ちょっと寒いね。
うん。
お父さん、連れ戻しに来るかな。
そんなことないさ。もし来ても僕が。
Sound from outside interrupted Natsuhiko. Sound of footsteps.
誰だ？
お父さんだ。お父さんが来たんだ。夏彦くん。
Yuri tugged on Natsuhiko's sleeve. Natsuhiko placed his hand over hers.
大丈夫。ユーリの父さんは僕がやっつけるから。
ダメだよ。そんなことしたら夏彦くんいっぱいいっぱい叩かれちゃう。
Oh, jeez.
叩かれるくらい
Oh,
なんだい。
jeez.
ユーリのためなら。
絶対ダメ。夏彦くんが叩かれるのも私は嫌だもん。
Natsuhiko panicked and interrupted Yuri. Even as they spoke, the sound of footsteps got closer. Up to the entrance of the ruined factory. They do need to deal with him, though, no matter what Yuri might say. Natsuhiko silently stood up and rushed toward the footsteps.
夏彦くん。
Really should just hide.
安心して。僕がユーリを守るから。
Oh, hello. Natsuhiko left those words behind as he dashed ahead. Hello, Mom. Someone's shadow stood at the entrance. Judging by its size alone, it had to have been an adult. Gotta rush up to him and punch him in the face. And I'll say, stop picking on Yuri. Was all he had in mind. Sorry, Mom. Natsuhiko rushed to the shadow and then...
夏彦？
That voice stopped him.
母さん？
Shadow's true identity was Natsuhiko's mother, Dr. Miyoko Tenkawa. The professor threw Natsuhiko one look and said,
母さんじゃないわよ。心配したのよ。家に帰ったらあなたはいないし、台所は荒らされているし。
Ah.
でもよかったわ。割とすぐに見つかって。
なんで母さんがここに？
慌てて鳥羽さんのお宅に電話したら、ましろちゃんがこの場所のことを教えてくれてね。即座に駆けつけてきたというわけよ。約5年ぶりの全力疾走よ。
Wow.
そうだったんだ。
Natsuhiko sighed, all his tension slackened in a matter of seconds. But a sense of relief was blown away by the professor's next words.
あら？そこにいるのは誰？
Professor noticed something moving in the darkness behind Natsuhiko. Yuri hesitantly peeped up and walked up out of the shadows.
私、
新しい友達のユーリだよ。
After the kid's reluctant introduction, the professor spoke in exasperation.
ああ、先日転居してきた琴野さん宅の娘さんね。ダメでしょ、夏彦。女性をこんな時間まで連れ回しては。
でも
The professor ignored Natsuhiko and smiled at Yuuri.
ごめんなさいね、ゆうりちゃん。ほら、あなたも一緒に帰りましょう。ご両親もきっと心配なさってるわよ。
Oh no. Yuri's whole body twitched at the word parents. She looked at the professor with tears in her eyes.
あら、どうしたのかしら。
In the professor's confusion, Natsuhiko made a bold declaration.
母さん、ユーリをあの家に連れ戻さないで。
そんなわけには。
連れ戻しちゃダメなんだよ。ユーリはあの家に帰りたくないんだ。コミュニケーターだからってお父さんもお母さんもユーリを邪魔者にするんだよ。毎日怒鳴ったりひどいこと言ったり家から追い出したり。
なんですって。
The professor's face stiffened for a moment.
本当なの、ゆりちゃん。
After a short moment's hesitation, Yuuri painfully nodded. Natsuhiko endured the sadness and continued.
だから僕ユーリを助けなきゃと思ったんだ。この秘密基地に住めば家に帰らなくて済むと思って。
The professor sank into silence with a grim look on her face before placing her hands on Natsuhiko's shoulders.
事情は分かったわ。でもここに住むわけにはいかないわ。子供だけで暮らせるわけもない。
そんなひどいよ母さん。ユーリは
だから。
Professor held Natsuhiko still as he started pleading with her.
私が何とかするわ。
Hey!
安心なさい、ゆうりちゃん。必ず状況を改善してあげるから。
On one hand, this is kind of heartwarming. On the other hand, there's some scary implications that I'll talk about in a bit. Professor smiled at Yuuri. And as if all of Yuri's threads of tension had snapped, she burst into tears in a stifled voice.
ユーリ
Natsuhiko rushed up to Yuuri in a panic to hold her hand. Yuuri squeezed his hand back and spoke.
ありがとうございます。夏彦くんのお母さんも夏彦くんの
Yuri's sobs echoed in the darkness. Natsuhiko's mother said nothing. Natsuhiko himself said nothing. All he could do was keep holding Yuri's hand as she sobbed. Wonder if Mom had already decided to take custody of Yuuri back then. And then her parents got killed in a car accident. And I'm not making that up, right? That is a thing that happened. Yuri's parents died in a car accident. And then Miyoko took custody of Yuuri. That is a thing that happened, right? And right here we have the moment where Miyoko decided she was going to do something about it herself. So on one hand, that's the first really in-depth look we've gotten at Miyoko's personality. And it's really good. That's she's got a good heart, it seems. On the other hand, she also has the power to commit automated vehicular manslaughter. Hell yeah. They are kind of bastards and they treated their kid like shit, and no one will miss them. But that's still kind of scary. He never imagined they'd get their wish with the death of Yuri's parents, but it wasn't an unbelievable possibility. Even though his mother was gentle at the time, she would eventually become cold and distant, rarely returning home. Ah, so that changed over time. That's exactly why Natsuhiko and Yuuri developed a bond of mutual trust beyond that of even blood relatives. It's probably why we worry way too much about each other. Natsuhiko spoke with that thought in mind.
それにしてもユーリが僕を送り出したのは少し意外だったよ。ユーリは僕以上に事件とか危険とかそういうのが嫌いだと思ってたからさ。
So we still have the unnamed Labo incident to talk about somewhere down the line.
なんで今回に限ってあんなこと言ったんだい？どういう心境の変化？
On one hand, it's scary that we could only assume that Miyoko had a hand in the death of Yuri's parents. On the other hand, it's kind of badass, too. Miyoko Tenkawa decides, these fuckers abused their kid. I'm gonna fucking set him up to die in a car accident, and then fucking take custody of their kid, so she can live a happier life with her friend. My son. In response to that casual question... Oh yeah, time for my remote watch smashing. Hell yeah. Yuuri responded softly and ominously. Natsuhiko gulped to hear what she was insinuating.
そんなことはないつもりだけど。でもどうして急にそんなことを言うんだ？僕が望んでいたってなんでそう思う？
Yuri's answer was ambiguous yet confident. That's what I wished for. Even if that is true, how would she know? Empathy. As he pondered the puzzle, a certain doubt rose up in his mind. No way. It's Yuuri? Before he could finish that thought, Yuuri muttered.
So そんなバカな。わざわざそんなことしないよ。おい、ユーリ!
Oh, okay. No watch smashing. Phone's connection suddenly cut off there. Before he knew it, the hustle and bustle of the town disappeared too, leaving Natsuhiko wrapped in silence. Oh, never mind, watch smashing. The only sound echoing through the silence was the ticking of Natsuhiko's watch. Soon enough, even that sound stopped. Again? When he looked to check, his watch was indeed broken. Back to reality again, huh? He already knew. Knew that all this time he was merely having a recollection of September 14th. Knew that his recollections of the past were gradually getting closer to the present. To the day this watch broke. The dead silence, Natsuhiko's consciousness returned to September 16th. Alright, let's find out. Whoa, God. Natsuhiko recalled that long day in just a moment's time. He's getting better at it. He recalled the collapse of his calm daily life, as well as how he plunged into the maelstrom of an incident with Mashiro and Salyu. That's right, no matter how far I am away from Yuuri, I must fulfill my promise to her. But Yuuri ended up getting dragged into this incident regardless, and now she stood with Mashiro in front of him. The passageway was blocked by fire on both sides, leaving nowhere to escape. Regardless. Those words fanned the fire burning in Natsuhiko's heart. She's right. No matter what the danger, I'll take the correct path. Or else I have no hope of overcoming the past. Natsuhiko grabbed Mashiro by the hand.
諦めるな。行くぞ、真城。
どこに？
別の道を使うんだ。第5エリアに続く道はここだけじゃない。
Natsuhiko recalled the map he had just seen.
ここは第4エリア外周島と第5エリア外周島をつなぐ道だ。
Go to the inner ring?
こっちの道がダメでも内周島の道は生きているかもしれない。
それじゃあ第4エリア内周島に行くことができれば。
ああ、もう一度第4エリアの炎を突っ切り内周島から第5エリアに入ろう。ここでじっとしているよりは生き残れる可能性が高い。
Mashiro looked a little bewildered, but she replied strongly soon enough. Yuuri smiled as if she were watching over the two of them.
よし、行こう、二人とも。
Natsuhiko took them by the hand and opened the gate on the Area 4 side. I'm still convinced that Yuri's not actually here. We haven't actually seen any proof of that. Concrete proof of that, other than neither Salyu nor Mashiro directly addressing Yuuri. But once again they plunged into the blazing Area 4 outer ring. Natsuhiko gripped the girl's hands tight.
二人とも最初から目をつむっとけ。そして僕の手を絶対離すな。僕についてくれば絶対逃げられる。
分かったよ。ヒコリ、気をつけてね。
Natsuhiko nodded and ran, leading them by the hand. Mashiro's gait was a little uncertain, though, perhaps because of fear. However, Yuuri was surprisingly calm and matched Natsuhiko's pace perfectly. Hey, there you go. As a result, Natsuhiko wasn't too heavily burned and they were able to run confidently, but eventually the smoke got to Natsuhiko's eyes, blurring them over with tears. Gah, endure it. Stop here, Mashiro and Yuuri are as good as dead. Natsuhiko desperately ran despite his blurred vision. They slipped through the connecting passageway, finding refuge in Area 4's inner ring. And unlike the outer ring, the inner ring had no signs of fire.
助かった。もう大丈夫だぞ、二人とも。
The girl spoke as Natsuhiko took deep breaths.
ありがとう、夏彦。危ないところだったね。
ああ、でもまだ完全には安心できない。第5エリアに行くまでは。
Mashiro's face froze at Natsuhiko's words.
そうだね。こっちの連絡通路は無事かな。無事でありますように。
They prayed as they walked into the connecting passageway. Didn't see any sign of fire or smoke in this path.
よし、行ける。
Let's go before there is fire.
早く第5エリアへ。
Three of them rushed off in high spirits. Once they entered Area 5's inner ring, they headed for the emergency staircase. Broadcast said that the staircases in Area 5 and 6 were safe. Quite some time has passed since then, but please still be safe. They rushed to the staircase with that hope in mind. Oh! What waited for them behind the door was only the wreckage of what was once a staircase.
そんな、ここもダメなの？まさか、もう全部の階段が。
The three of them left the staircase landing with drooping shoulders. Natsuhiko suddenly got worried about Salyu. Pondering for a second, he sent her telepathy.
サリュー、聞こえるか？今どこにいる？
After a little while, he learned about her whereabouts.
二人ともいいニュースだ。今サリューと BC で連絡したら、あいつはもう第6エリアから脱出したってさ。
本当に？
僕らも諦めちゃダメだ。非常階段はまだ他にもある。第5エリア外周島や第6エリアにもあるんだ。あと3つのうちどれかが無事なら。
じゃあ外周島に行く？
いや、連絡通路の火星を見る限り第5エリア外周島は炎上している可能性が高い。第6エリアから先に行ってみて。
The moment Natsuhiko began to speak, uh-oh. An ominous siren suddenly bellowed. It was a loud alarm unlike what they had heard before. Automatic broadcast voice followed.
ただいま、軽水炉が発生しました。緊急事態につき のゲートを閉鎖ロックするとともに各施設内の職員は AD を投与の後最寄りの部屋に入り動かないでください。
Natsuhiko looked toward the connecting passageway in shock. Security gate in their path shut with a roar.
まずい。
Natsuhiko rushed over to the gate and tried opening it. No matter how much strength he used, no matter how much he pressed the open button, the gate wouldn't budge one bit.
しまった。
これどういうこと？
なんだか知らないけど避難モードが終わったらしい。今まで開放されていたゲートも全部ロックされた。
じゃあ
僕らはこの塔に閉じ込められちまったんだ。
Natsuhiko muttered in a grave voice. What do we do? The broadcast said that all the gates were locked. It probably included the gate to the outer ring and the gate to Area 4 as well. Damn it, is there no way out? Natsuhiko looked around with that thought in mind. I do wonder... It's the only picture we have back to this point so long ago is that brief flashback from Watase, which I want to say he saw all three of these guys together. I wasn't sure if that was Mashiro, Natsuhiko, and Yuuri, or Mashiro, Natsuhiko, and Salyu. Upon which a look of astonishment rose up on Yuri's face.
信じられない。またこんなことが起こるなんて。
Again.
まるで9年前の再現だね。
Is there an area? Was there a case end 9 years
9
ago?
年前の
Yuri's words jogged Natsuhiko's memory the moment they left her lips. 9 years ago, they had also been locked in here in Area 5. Oh. That's right. Back then we heard that same announcement. The gates had been shut. The image of Yuri sobbing rose up in the back of Natsuhiko's head. What happened to us after that? I'm very curious. The more he tried to remember the details, the worse his head ached. Oh, wow. That was the very fragment of the past he had been avoiding. Oh boy. Memory that had haunted them for 9 whole years. Why is this happening again? Natsuhiko endured his headache and looked toward Yuuri. It's hurting me this much, then Yuuri must be... Oh, a painful look was indeed on her face. Nope, this is time wizard Yuuri. And so she smiled at him.
私は大丈夫だよ、ヒコリン。
I need you to remember, Hikorin.
でもユーリ、僕は何も成長してなかった。ここに来て同じように閉じ込められて、結局過去を乗り越えることなんてできてない。
As Natsuhiko vocalized his bitter regrets, Yuuri gently replied.
そう思うのはまだ早いよ。ヒコリンは今日までに過去を乗り越える強さを手に入れたはずでしょ。アシロンたちとならどんな時も平気だったよね。あの日突きつけられた真実と悪意、それを乗り越えられたんだから、今回もきっと乗り越えられるはずだよ。
That day? Which day? As Natsuhiko mulled over Yuri's confusing choice of words, he heard the sound of his watch ticking. Oh boy. Time to overcome the 15th. When he looked at the dial, the hands were pointing to 9:15 at 7:09 a.m. Yesterday, huh? The day we got close to the truth. Yuri whispered to the pensive Natsuhiko.
ヒコリン、思い出す時が来たんだよ。ここに来たのはきっとただの偶然じゃない。
Time to learn what brought us here.
覚悟はいい？
Hell yeah. When Yuri said that. Natsuhiko's consciousness returned to yesterday. Oh, I'm only more curious about what happened 9 years ago. Natsuhiko Tenkawa's determination. Natsuhiko woke up. His vision and consciousness were still blurry. Huh? Where am I? Unfamiliar surroundings had him on the verge of a confused panic, but... That's right. Last night I called Yuuri on the phone and then I returned to the karaoke box. Guess I passed out from exhaustion right after that. One day until the incident. After a moment, his thoughts managed to clear themselves again. How are the other two? Natsuhiko turned his head to look for Mashiro. Ooh! Aww! Only to find her face right beside him. She's too close. She looks way too defenseless. Oh no, too cute. He only barely kept himself from shouting in surprise. Just afterwards, Mashiro opened her eyes ever so slightly. Her eyes were fixing on Natsuhiko in an enraptured gaze. The sight of her awakening was so enthralling it left him speechless. The sight of his childhood friend that he had never seen before. After only a moment had passed, she returned to the usual Mashiro. Oh.
ごめん
Natsuhiko jumped away reflexively. Oh, thunk! And suddenly felt himself step on something soft. Oh no! Looking down, he found Salyu sleeping on the floor. He had accidentally stepped on her. He seemed to be sleeping peacefully, but... Oh! And a moment later, Salyu grabbed his foot. Ja! And flung him away in a flash. Dragon screw leg whip. Ah! Natsuhiko's world turned upside down as he toppled on the floor.
Natsuhiko.
Hi. As part of her reactive throwing motion, Salyu had risen to her feet. She appeared to have come back to her senses as she lent him her hand.
ごめん。寝込みを襲われたと思い、反射的に三宮スクリューを繰り出してしまった。
I was just kidding! I was just kidding, and that's what she did. She really did a dragon screw leg whip. Holy shit.
三宮スクリュー
Natsuhiko groaned as he got up. His knees and back ached. So she can use more than just Aikido. Aikido? That was not an Aikido technique, no matter how he looked at it. Mashiro rubbed her half-asleep eyes as she asked about it too.
それってサリュのオリジナル必殺技？そう。私があまたの格闘技をミックスして生み出した総合武術、三宮流サバットの技。
Oh my god, I love this.
他にも三宮スリーパー、三宮ロケット、三宮スープレックスなどがある。
そうなんだ。
She's gonna go into pro wrestling after
どう
this.
考えてもサバットの技ではないし、どっかで聞いたような技名が多い気がするね。というかそんなことはどうでもいい。それより今何時？
Natsuhiko checked his watch.
7時12分か。
It was relatively early for a Sunday morning. They had business to take care of today. Natsuhiko took a deep breath before speaking.
さて、今日から本格的にテロリストの捜索を始めよう。
おうさ、こっちはいつでも OK だよ。ここに長居するのも良くない。指針を決めて早速動くべき。
よし、じゃあ考えようか。僕らのやるべきことは何だ？
決まってる。最終目標はテロを阻止すること。そのためにできれば保安課の疑いを晴らすこと。保安課の疑いを晴らすためには例の警備員を見つけて虚偽の通報した旨を認めさせるべきだと思う。
そうか、確かに。
After Natsuhiko nodded in consent, Mashiro was next to speak.
ああ、私からも提案があります。
なんだ、マシロ。
それと同時進行でバスの中で会ったあの人を探すべきじゃないかな。前にも言ったけど、あの人がサングラスで顔を隠していたとはいえ、
Oh,
会えばわかると思うんだ。
that's helpful, but it's still a very much drop in the bucket search.
偶然でもそれを見つけることができたら、即踏んじばって警察に突き出せばいいんだよ。
Batman style, right?
難しそうだけど。
Agreed.
それにテロリストなら仲間がいるのが自然。一人捕まえたところでテロの阻止にはならないと思う。でもさ、とりあえず保安課が私たちを疑うのをやめてくれるだろうし、警察もさすがに動くじゃん。なるほど、確かにメリットは大きいでしょ。
Natsuko more or less agreed with her with that opinion, but
でもそれはちょっと偶然に頼りすぎだな。先に大人の協力を得るのが重要じゃないか。
ねえ、保安課にあれだけ疑われてるのに。
oh, is this when we try and seek out Anna?
いや、だからこそだよ。信頼できる大人を味方につけたい。保安課の誤解を解いてくれるかもしれないし、いざという時頼りになると思う。
It would have been a different story if Natsuko were the only one at risk for danger, but he wanted to ensure Mashiro and Salyu were as safe as possible.
心当たりは2人いる。1人は浮田のおじさん、もう
Aha!
1人は椿山先生だ。
その二人なら話を聞いてくれそうだね。誰が信用できるか私には判断しがたいけど。
Understandably.
いや、信用できるかどうかは真城に判断してもらいたいと思う。
私に？どういうこと？
Natsuko meekly responded to Mashiro's puzzled glance.
真城、エンパシー使えるよな。エンパシーが使えるかどうかはその相手が心を開いているかどうかで決まるんだろう。だったらおかしな言動をする人や怪しい人間がいたら、とりあえずエンパシーが使えるかどうか試してみてくれないか。
でもそれは。
If there's ever a time to break it out, then... I mean, if there's ever a time to throw the morals aside, it's for investigating terrorists, right? That sounded really bad, I'm sorry. Mashiro's expression clouded over. She was probably reluctant to peek into other people's minds. That's what got us into this mess. Not her peeking into minds, it's... yeah. I'm gonna walk that back. Very much. If there's ever a time to roll back on morals, it would be when investigating terrorists, but then that's easily abused. If you do that then, so
もちろ
yeah.
ん嫌なら正直にそう言ってくれ。こんなこと無理は言えない。
Oh, that didn't get us anything. Hmm.
エンパシーが使えるかどうかはその相手が心を開いているかどうかで決まるんだろう。
Let's keep Mashiro high. In fact, let's mash out Mashiro. Yeah. I know a lot of people hate having their minds peeped into, but I guess it goes both ways, huh? When Mashiro first became able to use empathy, and she tried peeking into someone's mind to make sure. Perhaps it left her with a bad experience. From an objective viewpoint, Mashiro had quite attractive looks. She was even popular among the boys at school. There's been at least a few men who harbored a certain kind of lust for as well. She came face to face with the bare monstrosity of a man's mind. It's only natural it'd leave a bad memory. That could be why she prohibited herself from peeking into other people's minds. Natsuhiko realized how unreasonable he was being with his request.
いや、ごめん。やっぱりやめよう、真城。
Ah.
こんなこと無理は言えないもんな。
いや、大丈夫だよ。今回の一件、言い出しっぺは私だもんね。 重要そうな局面なら金を破ってやってみるよ。
That answer only made Natsuhiko feel more guilty.
悪いな真白。
いいよいいよ、緊急事態だもん。せっかくの能力、たまには有効活用しないとね。
Now, yeah, that's definitely called how this was gonna set up our talking to Enna beforehand. It's also gonna set up Enna's heart being closed off, and what Salyu meant by that when the two of them met in Labo. Yes, it's empathy. Mashiro spoke in a bright voice. Even if it were a mere bravado, it provided relief to Natsuhiko and Salyu.
よし、やるべきことは決まりだな。
On that note, I think we're gonna leave this for next video. This was a really good part. I feel like this was a really good hour. We learned a lot. We had our 6:19 a.m. watch smashing over the phone. We have more questions, and we've started the final day where we know things are gonna hit their peak, where we're gonna uncover the plot fully. It's been a slow burn, but it's starting to get good. It's starting to really get good. I wonder if we're gonna get anything about the incident 9 years ago. There's still a lot we don't know about that. It feels like that's the last roadblock here. But it feels like that's something bigger than I initially thought. I'm intrigued. Let me know what you think down in the comments. For now, that's the wrong button. That's the wrong button. That's the wrong save file. I'm really botching this. Okay. I'm to end this by reading about Sanemiya-style Savate. A composite system of martial arts created by Salyu, mixing several styles of hand-to-hand combat. Savate is an art of self-defense spread by French gentlemen in the Bourbon dynasty. It's also known as French kickboxing. Savate is based on the theory of controlling the distance to one's opponent with footwork and quickly closing in on them for a KO. However, Sanemiya-style Savate includes more moves that seem to only exist to appeal to some mysterious third party, rather than for any effective use against an opponent. Pro wrestling crowd. Such moves include Sanemiya Screw, a leg-wrapping throw, made a signature move of the ace Hiroshi Tanahashi. Sanemiya Sleeper, a hold that applies pressure to a sitting opponent's carotid artery from behind, popularized in Japan by the wrestler Katsuyori Shibata, and of course, Minoru Suzuki, the King. The Sanemiya Rocket, a death-defying Mexican lucha libre diving move. Death-defying Mexican lucha libre move. I don't recall what that's a direct connection to, but yeah, just a simple top rope splash. Could be the old Hiroshi Tanahashi high fly flow. And the Sanemiya suplex, where you hook the opponent's arms back from behind, bridge backwards, drawing a beautiful arc in the air with your opponent as you strike them into the ground. Perhaps it is a martial arts style more suited for acting out a dramatic plot. And rather than simply subduing an opponent, the good old Sanemiya suplex, aka the Tiger suplex, popularized by the one, the only Tiger Mask. I say the one, the only, there's been 4 of them through the years. But, alas. now that I've geeked out over my lesser-known interests, it's time to sign off for the night. When we return, we'll get into the final day. Until then.